The problem, the solution. I think I'm doing okay, right? In 1992, we started a business called Update Services in the corner of a bedroom. We had no credit, no capital, and no experience, but we worked like crazy and it actually began to work. We managed to grow every year for 16 years, and then 2009 happened. Sales dropped for 3 straight years. It almost killed us, but we survived. We all have a plan A. Be an employee, be a sales rep, or be a small business owner. My plan A was Update Services, the great American dream. Or maybe not. After 3 years of recession, I needed a plan B. So how's your plan A working out? Are you on the 40-40-40 plan? Work 40 hours a week for 40 years to retire with 40% of your income? Imagine living on 40% of what you make right now. You see the problem? This hits high income earners too. Why? Because as income increases, outgo increases more rapidly, as my dad said. So what's our retirement outlook? For a lot of people, it's kind of like a train wreck. Here are the facts. The average person age 45 to 62 has saved $38,000. Take the annual income you want at retirement, divide it by 4% to know how much you need saved to retire. For example, to have a $50,000 a year income at retirement, you will need $1.25 million saved by age 65. For a $100,000 income, you would need $2.5 million. 38,000's a really good start if you're 20. AARP tells us that 50% of retirees retire on Social Security with zero other retirement funds. 36% of those 55 and above don't contribute to a retirement plan because they can't afford to do so. 24% of those age 65 have postponed retirement altogether. And 70% of those who hit 62 take the early Social Security benefit option, even though it locks them into a lower income forever, because they needed the income now to live on. But here's the big one. 40%, that's 4 out of 10, have abandoned the idea of retirement altogether. This was not on anyone's game plan when they started the work 40 hours a week for 40 years plan. So what's the solution? What's plan B? Well, one option is to work more, spend less, and save more. Basically, trade more time for money and lower your standard of living and expectations for the future. Or you can give up on your dream of a comfortable retirement altogether and just try to survive. Or you can close your eyes, get another credit card, and just hope for the best. Maybe a bailout or something. You can take matters into your own hands and say, I'm going to get a different job. I'm going to become a salesman. Well, there's several different kinds of sales jobs. One's what I call a slow growth sales position, which is things like car sales or insurance sales or printing sales. The reality is most end up making about what an employee makes, but with a lot more stress and risk. Some can do well, but if they lose a big client or take time off, their income drops. Then there's the high potential sales job, medical sales or high tech sales. The reality is a company is usually comfortable if the salesperson's income falls within a certain range. If he makes too much, the company will cut his territory or his commission. If he makes too little, he risks getting fired. So what's the result? Permanent insecurity. Or you can go into real estate sales or be a mortgage rep. But the reality is you're vulnerable to boom and bust cycles and other factors you just can't control. You could start a traditional business. You can do what I did and bootstrap a business based on a skill or a trade. The benefit is you may initially need very little money to get started. The reality is it may be years to really replace your current income, and it may not scale well. If you stop working, you stop earning. You could buy a franchise. The benefit is if you just follow their plan, you should be okay. It's kind of a lower risk way to own a business. The reality is you need a big capital investment, anywhere from $50,000 to $200,000 or $300,000, sometimes up to as many millions. And where do you get that money from? Well, you end up borrowing or raiding a retirement fund, basically stealing from the future to try to have a better future. The average franchise earns $66,000 a year. That's kind of like a middle management job. So you see a lot of franchise owners having multiple franchises, but each of those takes its own initial big capital investment. So a lot of them have a lot of debt to have their big income. But the dream of owning a business is to grow it and to sell it and to get your 2 or 3 million then. The reality is it's often not worth what you hope. I have a business owner friend who was talking to a possible buyer. And the buyer asked, "What do you think your business is worth?" And the owner said, "I think it's worth about $1 million." The buyer said, I hate to break it to you, but I think it's worth about $250,000. And the owner said, "I guess I'll be working until I die." You could go back to school. You could try to get a better career by being a doctor, or a lawyer, or a computer something or other. The reality is you may not have time, and you may end up with more debt along with your bigger income. So is there a better way? What if you started a network marketing business? It's got a low startup cost. You can build quickly or build slowly. You can start part-time. You can earn while you're figuring it out. You can leverage your time. It has potential for exponential growth and residual income and time freedom and location freedom, and just about anybody can do it. But most people have a bad taste in their mouth about network marketing. Why? Because we've all seen high-priced products that you don't really need that end up in your garage that are sometimes 100 to 1,500% higher than you could buy in the store. There's products that are based on questionable science or a temporary pricing imbalance. There was a company called Excel Enterprises who sold long-distance services, and Excel grew like crazy because they were half the price of AT&T. But as soon as AT&T dropped their rates, Excel couldn't compete and went out of business. Some are just pyramid money games where the last one in loses. They usually get shut down by the FTC anyway. Some are big old companies like Amway or Herbalife that have so much reputation damage that it's really hard for a new person to get anything going. What would the perfect business be like? Well, it should be built on people doing natural things they're going to keep doing. You need a product that never goes away and that fills a legitimate need. Ideally, you want to have some kind of a crusade or a mission. It needs to make sense so it's easy to sell. And the biggie, it should be a win-win for everybody, not just those in first. What if we could build a business based on people buying products they already buy at retail prices, and maybe even at stores they already shop at? Think gas and groceries like Cub Foods or BP, Home Depot, Groupon, Gap, Sears, Kroger, Albertsons, Target. And get money back with every purchase. And what if we could help small businesses get new customers and repeat sales? Would you want to know more?